now. All right. So I would like to welcome everyone to the Wednesday webinar series of Women Veterans Alliance. My name is Melissa Washington. I'm a Navy veteran and also the CEO and founder of Women Veterans Alliance. So thank you all for being here. As you saw, hopefully from the reminder email, that we are piloting a new app which called an audience graph, which we need your participation. You can use your phone and you can provide your feedback on various topics throughout the webinar. You can tap the thumbs up button to register your opinions, as these topics will change. And just you can tap on the button up to 5 times for emphasis. And you can just tell us how you feel about the webinar moment to moment by sliding the graph there left to right. So if you are going to participate, we will be giving one lucky winner a Women Veterans Alliance scarf at the end, and that'll be based on, we'll take a look at all those who participated on our app throughout the program. So with that, if you're not familiar with our organization, and this is also on the app, Women Veterans Alliance, we are a nationwide organization with our primary focus is connecting women veterans with each other and resources. And part of that connection is having these Wednesday webinars. If you haven't heard of the Unconference, that's taking place October 8th through the 10th at the Tropicana Resort in Las Vegas. And early bird pricing ends May 31st. So if you haven't got your tickets, I highly recommend that you go to womenveteransunconference.com, register. And also too, we have discounted hotel rooms at the Tropicana Resort. All right, so we have our April webinar series next week. Fantastic presentation on cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is important for everyone, and that will be presented. And then following week, we have entrepreneurship. Life begins with yes. Our April webinars are listed on the womenveteransalliance.org/webinars. And we also have listed our May webinars on that site as well. So we've got a great lineup. For May, we'll be adding the June ones very shortly. If you haven't connected with us, please do so. We're on all social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram. So feel free to like us on there, as all of our content is shared on there. So without further ado, I would like to go ahead and introduce our presenter, Phyllis Miller, and this is going to be a very informative presentation that she has, but I want to just share her bio, and I'm sure she'll probably share a little bit about herself as well. Navy veteran, go Navy. Vietnam, she spent 8 years in the Navy, and her specialty, which maybe she'll share with us also, was an illustration draftsperson, stationed at Coronado Island in the beautiful San Diego. Spent 25 years in private practice on Wall Street, investing, consulting, IPO offerings, and management of clients' art portfolios, and artistic by guidance through God, medical illustration, fine art, curator, and art consulting, creator, founder of the Veterans Art Venue and Moreau Gallery since 2009. The artist's mission to continue the agenda of the Veterans Art Venue. I can't think of anybody more qualified to talk about what she's going to talk about today than Phyllis. So Phyllis, I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to you. And again, if you want to share your screen, you can. Phyllis is just gonna, she's gonna talk to all of you and share that. So Phyllis, take it away.
All righty. Hello, everyone. Can everyone see me?
Yes, we could see you and all your beautiful artwork.
Fantabulous. First of all, it's a delight and an honor to be a guest speaker. Thank you, Melissa, and thank you, Women's Veterans Alliance. And this such empowerment of our women veteran community is phenomenal. And what basically in my tour of duty in the Navy, if anyone is ever familiar with the layouts, the blueprints of every vessel, aircraft carrier, submarine, destroyer, anything that floats on the ocean, our duty was to maximize the interior space as much as possible, at the same time as new weapons, new materials come on board, as an illustration drafts person, we would have to find the space so all of those items are installed in the appropriate compartments or cubby holes or whatever space we can find. Fortunately, I am proud to say, for all of my 8 years in the Navy, I have never ever taken any space from the men aboard board because of their sleeping quarters was like little sardines with pillows. So their little compartments was small enough. So I'm proud to say where other draftspersons were quick to cut corners to minimize their comfortable under circumstances going into battle or not, I never took space from them. So that's one proud moment in the military. And also in the military, I supervise over 220 people in that department of a top secret installation, as well as through stressful conditions, I utilize art to minimize those, how should I say, personal issues of deadlines, meeting deadlines, again, eliminating stressful conditions as art is an essential in everyday life. For example, no matter what your profession is or vocation, or if you're retired, the true meaning of art and its usage has the ability to not only create the ambiance within your life, but it also creates the ambiance within. When you see art on the wall, that's one thing. When you think of art in a holistic way, that's another. For example, have any one of you, and I just want you to, I'm going to ask you this question, and I welcome it in the chat at the end of the presentation. Have you found yourself in the lobby or waiting for your appointment or waiting for a client or waiting for your doctor or even waiting at the DMV, which the wait can be very long? Have you ever found yourself taking a pen or a pencil and just making scribbly marks on the outside, on the outskirts, or up in the upper corner, left corner, bottom corner of your pad, your notebook, or just the back of an envelope? That is what you call doodling. And I'm pretty sure if anyone had a pen and paper and just their mind leaving off the subject, or again, in that lobby, waiting for your doctor, waiting to see your client, and you're in a waiting mode, the best idle thing to do is doodling, because you find yourself mentally removed from maybe an anxiety moment or a moment that you are anticipating suspense or the uncertain. When you doodle, when you draw, when you sketch, make circles, lines, as I say, squiggly lines, and so forth, you have a tendency to keep drawing. And then you find yourself very, very relaxed. And in that sense, what you can do is, of course, and what you have been doing without knowing, you have applied art to your very essence. And for example, another example would be, let's say, for example, you are a real estate agent or a real estate broker or a sales, retail. You have your standard procedures. You internally have a creative thought to add a little something to your service to your clients or service to yourself. You add a little personality. And to make sense of what I'm saying, I'll give you an example. A typical Amtrak train, you have your stewards, you have the locomotive engineers, you have the people at the cafe lounge, and you have, of course, the passengers. Well, this one particular Amtrak steward that I recall had a conscious of mind to add a little humor. And that's a form of art, to add a little creativity to your everyday duties, tasks, and challenges. And his sense of humor ranged from every stop that the train would reach, he would have something really funny and cute that made people giggle and laugh. He, he stood out among the rest by doing this. For example, we're traveling up to San Francisco from Union Station of Los Angeles. We get to a city called Richmond, California. And his funny statement was, we're now arriving to Richmond, California, where the place is so challenging, but you never take a knife to a gunfight. So people would laugh at that. Another funny gesture was a flight attendant on a Delta airline who was a Marine, well, always a Marine. Marines are always Marine. But this stewardess, she would have something funny to say to all of her passengers, especially when there was a period where the pilot gave a forewarning that we're going to run into a lot of turbulence. So when you run into turbulence, please make sure your seat belts are fastened and everyone is in their seat. So she would visit each passenger along the way, providing drinks and beverages and so forth, snacks and so forth. She would have something unique to say. The artistic side of that is that she is remembered for her uniqueness. She is remembered for her taking an extra step, extra care to bring comfort to everyone around. And that's part of the benefits of art, is to bring tranquility, comfort, solitude, and at the same time, it opens the passageway to solutions and to other things of interest as far as between the artist and the recipient. So in addition to just, how should I say, physical art on the walls or creating art on substance in the form that most people know, art is much more than the subject value or the intrinsic value of anything of a visual standard. And what I want to present to you is how do you incorporate this into your everyday life? Some point in time, there are stressful conditions, and when they are, art is your best avenue to come back and regain your balance, invigorate your delivery if you're in the middle of a meeting among a crowd, or again, in that long waiting at the DMV. You do scribblings and so forth. There are non-artisans that I know of who have multiplied the image of their doodling, and they simply was able to sell the print and made over 250,000 at an auction house at Sotheby's. That's just an example. And then another instances where art is, let's say, for example, I have one right here. This is a plain box. This was a regular delivery box, which we all receive in the mail, boxes, deliveries, and packages. Yes, of course, environmentally, you can collapse them and send them to the recycling or save them for further storage. My suggestion is you can take a box and create art on the box, put it up against a wall, and it becomes a little cabinet. Or as your house clutters with empty paper towel rolls, you see these. Well, you can take these and, of course, make them into decorative ornaments, holiday gifts, and at the same time, when you put a little piece of metal at the bottom, they can be pleasant mobiles. Another form of art and its value to everyday life is, let's say you are, like I did in the military, supervised over 220 people. There was a stressful condition coming forward, a big inspection. It was a very important inspection dealing with a top secret application that's dealing on an international level. I suggested to everyone the next day prior to the event to bring a plain white t-shirt. They brought in a plain white t-shirt. I said, put it in a drawer. Then when the inspection came about, their mind was on what's with the t-shirt. They were able to successfully go through the examination, the demonstration, and after it was all over with, I provided them with some fabric paint and I asked them, please apply on the t-shirt how you feel after that experience. Many of them said they didn't feel any stress because their mind was on, why did our supervisor ask us to put a t-shirt in the drawer throughout the inspection? What does that have to do with the event? Then I let them know that I have disarmed their anxiety. I have disarmed their stress by way of art. And when they put the t-shirt on the desk and I gave them the art supplies, they have the most pleasant items of colorations, mismatched, abstract, surrealism, contemporary flowers, what have you. And at the end of that day, they said they thought sure that they were going to create something stressful, anger, bewilderment, and so forth. And it was more festive. And then at the end of that, I asked them, how do you feel? And they indicate relieved. And so art has a way of compacting or compounding or infusion of difficulties around you where they can be handled in a more calm state. Now, the art, as I speak of it, might not be the solution to the problem, but it has a way about of setting you in a mind state where you are more open to the solution. For example, as I mentioned, the Amtrak steward who does 9 hours a day in and day out, the same routine from Union Station to San Francisco or San Francisco to San Diego, and to wait to bring about his day to make it interesting and challenging, he applied it art in a sense of humor that gave laughter and joy to the passengers. Needless to say, the other employees were a little bit, how should I say, envious because he always gets the bonus. Why? Because the passengers send complimentary letters applauding him for his wonderful sense of humor, and without the standard dry procedures of what to do while on the train, your exits, your emergency exits, and so forth. And while you're just waiting for your next stop, this is what you've been, how should I say, he provided a sense of humor. For example, in another situation I can mention in the finance world, where everything is a deadline, everything is an exact science, art plays a key role into that industry where people have used artistic in the form of music, writing, poetry, sharing book lists, talk about the book list, talking about certain authors, and so forth. It passes the time. So the true definition of art is not the actual creating, but the actual creative thoughts that brings forth creating. And when you bring forth creating, is to go ahead and apply it to your everyday life. If you're a salesperson, if you're an attorney, accountant, real estate agent, a counselor, a fellow veteran within all those professions and vocations, art has a way of being your source of energy of empowerment. And when I provide art sessions, most people will say, well, I'm not an artist. And I would let them know that's not a prerequisite, because what I want is an open mind. Once you have an open mind, art is easy to gravitate, grasp, and embrace. And another fine example of how art plays into a situation is, for example, if anyone gets a simple sketch pad and keep it in their purse, wallet, briefcase, what have you, make sure it has no lines, because what a sketchbook does is you write down your thoughts. It's more, a sketch pad is more than just circles, lines, squiggly, and stick figures and so forth. It's also write down your thoughts, because as you write down your thoughts, you're going through the rest of the day. You may have forgotten something very point of a great idea. So it's always exceptional to have a sketch pad, because a sketch pad is an open book to thoughts that inform of words, visual objects, and visual gestures. Now, if you are a person that always have a legal pad with lines and so forth, you can have fun with this as well as putting thoughts down and creating, doodling between the lines, around the lines, above the lines, or below the lines. So in that form of sense, that is what art is all about. And I would like for people to embrace that, because once art is within you, you become more creative, more fluid, less stressful. And whatever is facing you in the form of deadlines, projects, anything, deficiencies, and so forth, start creating, and you will be in a mindset where therapeutic methods is right before you, where you are put at ease, where you can receive information that is available to you. Where if you're in an anxiety state of mind, anxious, angry, frustrated, it's hard to receive any solutions when that cluttered traffic of negativity is in your very essence. So art has a sense of way of drawing your little doodling and so forth. And once you do that, once you make a habit of it, it will invite you to receive solutions. And at the same time, at the end of the day, that you're a better you than being frustrated from point B to point Z. So in a sense of art, my thing is, and I'll say a thing, I'm a product of the 60s, so I will use terminology of way back then. So my thing is, of course, my visual is applied on surfaces, and ideas come in your head. Once ideas are in your head, God gives you the whole ramification to create. And I don't want anyone to think that art is a luxury, that art is exclusive to artists, photographers, and so forth. Art is within everyone in any shape or form. Your artistic way and whatever you do, people will receive it, and you will make their day an empowerment day because of you being the byproduct of art. And no, I'll give you another perfect fine example. A bus driver on a Santa Monica City bus who likes to sing. And even though there's a sign saying respectability, be quiet, and so forth, he sings poetry. And at the same time, people are gravitated toward calm music, which is another artistic way. His artistic way is to maintain his position of his employment, where his employer was very proud that he was very creative in music and song. And from that point, I would just like to close out and say that my years in art is more than just me creating. I use it to empower the veteran community. The veteran community we have a situation with a majority of PTSD and other related conditions. We are besieged with whatever the media may say about the fellow veteran community. And as I did in active duty in the military, I utilize art to inspire others, the creativity within themselves, so they can evoke their senses as well as evoke other senses, and at the same time, create a sense of balance within the world that we live in. And through these troubled times, through the quarantine period, I had advised people to, well, if you're shut in and you're quarantined and you can't get out and travel, why not engage within yourselves through some creative moments? Whereas before, you would not have the time because of deadlines and obligations and so forth. So the counter blessings in reference to the quarantine, if I may say, is because you were able to be able to reach in and re-energize yourself, reinvent or discover new applications of creativity that you can make part of your day. And I have discovered many, even veterans and even outside veterans, civilians and so forth, have discovered some uniqueness abilities that they have within themselves. And the empowerment of art, again, is available to all, whereas no one should ever think that it's isolated to quote unquote the traditional artists or people who have a talent they master, where there are individuals that there's various levels of art within themselves to bring out. And then when I ask people to have an open mind, what I'm saying is, do not be your worst critic, because everyone seeks perfection on various levels. But we do not know that we can be our own stumbling block, our own obstacle, our own self-critic, which keeps us from venturing out or exploring that creativity. Even authors of books and writers and so forth, they may be nervous when it comes time to the launching of a book that they just created. And I always said, the market is so open to various forms of art that you are considered selfish because of your, how should I say, the critic within may restrain you from delivering that gift to those around you that who would empowered by it, enjoy it, and make their day or weeks, months, or years to carry on a legacy of art that empowers people year round across the world, doesn't matter. And I utilize art to bring out the possibility of anyone, in a sense of never be afraid of new things. Risk is wonderful because nothing beat a failure but a try. That cliche I heard so many times, and it is so true. And on that end, I just want to conclude with, please invite art into your realm. Please feel free to contact me individually or however, via email or through my website gallery, which is www.merogallery.com. That's spelled MEROE gallery.com. And just contact me and ask me about how art can empower your life, because I definitely have an answer for you, because art is very universal. And the old saying, one size fits all, art can fit all, but in a unique way to that one being you. And if you have any questions, I'm here. Thank you. I'm Phyllis Miller.
Phyllis, thank you so much. I know we've had some comments in the chat, and I'm sure some other ladies have questions, but I just wanted to review those before first.
Okay.
So Lou mentions, I think this is when back when you're talking about the paper roll, she said to cut holes in toilet paper rolls and stick glow sticks inside them, place them in the bushes and trees for Halloween. Very good. Hey, you know?
Yes.
And Brenda has some great resources that she shared for others. She said some places to get free art instruction: vetart.org, pathwithart.org,
Yes.
also to vetartspan.org in Florida. So it looks like there's some other resources. So if you want to ask Phyllis questions, you want to share anything, looks like people saying great message, so positive and inclusive, amazing gift to the world. We've got a bunch of Go Navies, so Go Navy
Yes.
on there. And so feel free to type in the chat, or if you want to unmute yourself, also too on the app, we do have the ability to just share as far as a great presenter and information, so you can share that on our app. But we've got some time, everyone, so let's use this opportunity to share.
Hi, Melissa. My name is Millionaire Williams,
Hey,
and I'm
William.
a friend of Phyllis's, and I'm so excited about her being here amongst the group today because she is an incredible, amazing artist. And it's interesting because I have never explored the gift of the brush, so to say. But my husband and I, we live in Lancaster, California. Now, children are in North Hollywood, Woodland Hills. And every time I drive through the mountains, and I have actually stated this out loud to my husband several times, because there's so many mountains, and I look out there and I'm like, my God, those mountains are so beautiful. And I keep getting this visual in my mind that I need to take a chair, sit by the mountains, and just start drawing, because I just feel such a sense of nature out there driving the freeway, which, you know, there's no real traffic at the right times on the freeway, because, you know, that's a caveat for people that live here. But if you're driving along there, it is the most amazing, incredible mountains as you drive, and just seeing all the rifts in it. And I keep seeing myself just being this painter. So Phyllis, I may be calling you to tell you I'm out here in the desert and I'm painting some mountains.
All righty. All right, excellent. Do just that. As art can be inspired by anything, the long drives, and like I said, that DMV waiting one time, I created a masterpiece and didn't realize that from doodling, that pen and ink came in hand, and sure enough, my number was called, and there we go.
Wow.
Yes, and yeah, definitely.
Great. Anyone else?
Yes. I got 1 minute to mention, very important. I'll tell you how art inspired a particular late legend jazz artist, Chick Corea. And it was about 3 years ago, my fiance and I went to Catalina Bar and Grill. And Catalina Bar and Grill was such an exceptional event where Chick Corea was performing along with his wife. And if you recall, his wife was a singer, and in that song, he remembered that I was always writing to his fan club because I told him all the way back since 1972, I had been a follower of his music, that some of my art, especially when you go to my website and you'll see Man and Energy. When you go see Man and Energy, that was an art that I created based on a music song created by Chick Corea called Songs to the Pharaoh King. So when I met with Chick Corea at the ending of his performance, he took time with me. He even pulled up my website on his phone and he asked his manager, go get my doodling book. He autographed his doodling book and gave it to me and said, yes, through music and so forth is very, very empowering. And so from that point, artisans like the great legendary Chick Corea, who I have been following since 1972, and some of my art is inspired by many of his songs, I was able to embrace him to the point where he was able to give me a gift that is so valuable, which is his doodling book, which is scribbly, it's paint, it's even suggested ideas, it's even musical notes on it, and so forth. So it was just a wonderful experience. Another experience, if I can say this painting behind me, which is the same image of this shirt, is called The Price of Freedom. And I created The Price of Freedom based on the thought. Now, this is how art hits your mind. I was waiting in line at a fast food place, and a particular person had indicated that they was asking the manager, is there a discount for veterans? I was in front of the gentleman that asked that question. A lady behind me sighed as if she was disgusted by his question and said, well, you veterans think that we should give you everything. And I turned around and I said this, do you know what they went through for your freedom? Do you know that they took the chance to either come back or not? And you're bothered by this gentleman asking for a discount. Well, of course, the manager came over and really sealed the deal by saying, ma'am, if you have to ask that question, then I'm going to have to ask you to leave because we reserve the right to refuse service to anyone. Now, with that thought in mind, I said, how can I project in an art form how art is a way of motivating people, sending a message beyond words? So I created this painting. It's a two-part, where at the top of the painting is an image of a typical park that you would find in any city in this great nation. The park is of the sun, blue skies, people having festive ventures, blankets and lovers and kids playing. And the bottom portion is the soil, sweat, and the blood of the men and women of past wars who protected their right to have a great festive park-like time in any park of this great nation. And so when I showed this painting first to a Vietnam vet Marine, and I asked him, what would you title this? And he said, it's simple. That's the price of freedom. The symbols here, the medics, the emergency medics that go through the battlefield dodging bullets, but at the same time, keeping the men and women together in order to go back and fight, so that people who didn't serve or anyone to enjoy their time in the park because they have the freedom paid at this price. And so that empowerment of art is also an art to educate those to never take certain things that we hold value for granted, and the sense of of what art gives to anyone, that it is a visual beyond words. It covers areas where words are a sticking point, where words are very sensitive, that triggers one to close up because of maybe something traumatic. But visual art that I have used in the past allow the veteran, in this case, because I serve the veteran community since 2009, it serves them to say, where one Afghan Marine looked at this and said, this makes me want to talk. This makes me want to open up. And so that set aside his pain to look for something of a healing factor of visual to evoke his senses of a sense to find help, because now he's ready to talk. That means if he's ready to talk, the counselors at the VA have often told me that your art helps our patients. If we can have them on the lobby walls, if we can do anything to calm them down so that they can receive treatment, because words do trigger points where art goes beyond words. And that's why I always say visual beyond words, art to evoke the senses on every level. So that's and I hope that I present as clearly as possibly can that I want everyone to experience art in their own ways, because that what you have in your mind, in your thoughts, your ideas are solely yours. No one else can copy it, but you can deliver it. So that's what art is all about.
That was beautiful, Phyllis.
Yes,
Thank you for sharing that.
thank you. Thank you for having me.
Phyllis, can you share your contact information again one more time?
Yes, my website gallery is www.meroegallery.com. And I also have within the website the Veterans Art Venue, where I empower veterans through art. Before the pandemic, I used to have on the VA grounds, the facilities, Paint and Sip, also known as Paint and Snack, where I utilize art and the veteran audience would embrace art, discover their creative abilities. As I always say, I'm going to bring the art out of you. So when you go to my website, www.com, www.meroegallery.com, you will see the Veterans Art Venue, you'll see my artwork, and you'll see my patriotic series, where I also use art as a therapy. I took my combat boots and I transformed them into an artwork creation so that it symbolized my transition from the military to civilian through art, because I always say art, why not wear it? And I'm also wearing my patriotic t-shirt that I utilize to raise money for the Veterans Art Venue. And basically it's a t-shirt that has the exact image of this painting, The Price of Freedom. On the back of the shirt is a list of all the past wars of the great men and women who served. And at the same time, it represents those are among us who are living with the nightmares of wars past and present. So I welcome your input. And if I'm also looking for sponsors in reference to various engagements that I have been requested for my art to be on display in a sense of a therapeutic reasons, which is my most important mission, is to empower through art.
Oh, fantastic, Phyllis. Thank you so much. And thank you again for sharing that information. Oh, Lou has I see your hand, Lou.
Yes, I have a question, Phyllis. Which VAs are you working with currently?
Currently, I'm with the West Los Angeles VA on Wilshire and Bonzo. I will be expanding to the VA on Temple Street and I'm receiving requests from several VAs across the nation to host these events. And once it's clear as far as the pandemic is concerned, then the VA facilities will open back up for me to have these hosted sessions. They're 3 hours long. And believe it or not, when you get started, that 3 hours goes really quick. And basically, I provide various types of art supplies. And through a wonderful organization, I have to give them kudos for this. Vets Helping Vets, which is a Brentwood nonprofit community organization. I'm proud to say that I was brought to their attention by Pam Dauber and Marcy Swartz, who each time I have a paint and sip or paint and snack, they donate wonderful refreshments such as wonderful, delicious Jersey Mike sandwiches to various types of teas. And then once in a while, we have fun little raffles at the end. And at the end of each paint and sip, each veteran is allowed to take home their finished piece. And it ranges from canvases to jewelry boxes to empty boxes that I have them do creative works on. Those empty boxes that can be mobiles, hanging mobiles. And at the same time, I'm also venturing in doing art on shoes. So when you go to my website, you'll see my art on shoes. And again, my motto is art, why not wear it?
Thank you for sharing that. I am working with, I want to get an organization started where I was working with veterans to overcome trauma. And
Yes.
I want to incorporate art into that because I
Yes.
just recently got into art. I'm disabled. I only have one functioning hand. And it's like, there's got to be something I can do. And I found painting was one. And now I also loom knit, which I can do with one hand. So I thought, you know, there are other veterans that are sitting there, especially women, who sit there and think there isn't anything I can do. You know, like you were saying at the beginning,
Right.
negative thoughts go get into our head, and we put ourselves down and we criticize ourselves. And I'm no artist.
Yes.
I'm not an artiste. I'm an artist, right? So there's so much that for us to do and for others to come to you. And I just thank you for sharing everything you've done today, because I'm like here now.
Yes,
You know,
as
I'm
you
on the
should
high.
be, as you should be, because that's what art does. Art lets you know that there's more within you than you know. That's all I'm saying. So it's a great self-discovery.
Well, that's a great way to end it, on a high,
Yes.
a natural high.
Well,
Thank you.
I got a joke for you. Since she was talking about humor, I heard this joke earlier today, and I think it's just absolutely appropriate for here. So how come there are no knock-knock jokes about America? Because freedom rings.
Excellent.
Ah, Deborah, thank you. I needed that.
Excellent.
Very good.
So you guys can use that.
Very
Okay.
good.
Excellent.
Well, again, Phyllis, thank you so much. And I want to thank all of you that did use our app today. And Cindy Blair will receive a Women Veterans Alliance scarf for one of our folks that did use the app today. So thank you again. Ladies,
Yes.
have a phenomenal rest of your week. And I hope to see you on our webinar next week, which is a cybersecurity for everyone. Have a blessed day, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.